This is SSPTV News, brought to you by Samsung Productions and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
We get a lesson in Butler Township history next. Hi there everyone, and thank you for watching today. I'm Ken Carr with your local information. After an alleged hazing incident, a Tamaqua Area High School junior has been expelled. The decision was reached unanimously by the Tamaqua Area School Board. This stems from an incident on November 4th, and the next day the Tamaqua Area High School football team forfeited a playoff game. A Standard Speaker article by Jill Whalen says other students involved were suspended for 10 days and that the Tamaqua Area Police are still investigating. In Whalen's story, Superintendent Raymond Kinder says, quote, "We have not specified a specific number of students nor indicated where they would be in our disciplinary process," unquote. If you live in Butler Township or have family from there, you may be able to help the borough piece together a historic timeline. Here's Lisa Sugar.
Many people these days are studying genealogy and history, and one gentleman in our area is doing just that. Dr. Frank Polidoro joins us today, and he is the Secretary-Treasurer for the Butler Township Supervisors. Dr. Polidoro, you told me that you were going to speak at an event. Someone asked you to speak and give a history of the township, and when you checked it out, there wasn't a whole lot, so now you're taking it upon yourself to try to find more so that there will be a big history of Butler Township. So tell us about that.
Right, well, I discussed it with the other two supervisors, and we saw, basically they said work on it, and we found out what we had at the township, and we had two good sources. We had one from 1880, anonymous, about the history of the township, and we had another one from the Lions Club from 1984, so I used both of those, and they were a good background. A timeline was created of a history, so this is a timeline of a history, as in most histories are, any history can be biased one way or another, or it can leave things out, so it's a starting point.
Absolutely. So now you're trying to put all the pieces together. So you're hoping by doing this interview today, people watching will actually maybe have some information, some old photos and that. If they do have anything that would help you compile this history, where do they get in touch with you, or where do they send it?
All right, well they can get in touch with me personally, or they better to make sure it gets put where it belongs and stored properly, or at least copied. Jane Reeks, one of the ladies that, one of our administrative people who does an excellent job, is the one that's in charge of this. So what we're looking for is for example, if you look at the timeline, if you don't have the timeline, I'm pretty sure we can get it for you, have it on our website. You can see what we have in the timeline. You can say, okay, is there something missing? Put this in. For example, one lady wrote me a letter, and to make a long story short, she brought in the fact that her grandfather had gotten married just before the Latimer Massacre, which was September 10th, 1897, and came home from his honeymoon because of that. So the Latimer Massacre needs to be put into the timeline, so even though it's not in Butler Township, it's right near there. But yeah, that kind of stuff. And then also, if you have any old maps, old pictures, we're not going to keep them, but we'd like to, if we're allowed to copy them, and that sort of thing. Our goal is to put all this stuff on the website so that people can look through it. And actually, it's almost a thing where, and the other thing is, if you want to write something, write out a story of your family, we can include that too. And if you see something that's on there that you say, well, it didn't happen this way, and it's almost like a Wikipedia thing where people can contribute to it.
Have you gotten quite a few people contacting you thus far?
Well, we've had, let's see, there's one gentleman who has a whole bunch of stuff, but I get the impression he moved into his parents' house, so he has to go through it all. So I'm going to meet with him. And like I said, I talked to one lady, the lady that told me about her grandparents, and they lived actually in what's now Foothills Drive, that was known as East Butler at the time in the late 1800s. So she gave me the insight into the Latimer Massacre. Also, she mentioned something I thought was interesting. Her grandparents, when they went to church, in the summer they went down to the churches in St. John's by buckboard, but in the winter they went to the Methodist chapel because the hill was too deadly to go down. I assume it's the Mill Road. It's a Mill Hill Road, yeah. Mm-hmm. And what else? One other thing I'd like to get in there, I'm interested in history. I'm interested in American history, and especially the French and Indian War and that sort of thing. Why was this known as the wilderness? And I'll give you the one reason real quick. The Susquehannock, and I'll say Indians because they're the Susquehannocks, let's call them the Susquehannocks, were wiped out in the Beaver Wars in the 1600s, late 1600s by the Iroquois. And the Iroquois, so this area was, let's say, devoid of population. And the Iroquois they were very good diplomats and that sort of thing. And what they did, they wanted to bring in other Indian tribes to be a buffer against the white colonists coming up. And as a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons for the Battle of Wyoming. And the Battle of Wyoming is important to the people in Butler Township because Zebulon Butler was in the second second massacre of Wyoming was there present. And he's why he's the namesake is very interesting. I think it was because in the Revolutionary War, in the War of 1812, the British used their Indian allies to attack, and the Americans were really upset about that. So it was almost like remember the Maine type of a thing. It was a rallying cry. I think that's the reason Zebulon Butler was chosen as the namesake for Butler Township, but I'm not sure of that. So if someone has information on that, please.
Today's news feature is brought to you by Feisner's Ford in Freeland, who is celebrating 75 years in business. Give them a call at 570-636-3920, or you can log on to feisnersford.com.
Time now for weather on SSPTV News.
Here's our forecast from the National Weather Service. On Thursday, showers likely after 1 p.m. We have a 60% chance of precipitation. It will be mostly sunny with a high near 60 degrees. New precipitation amounts of less than 1/10 of an inch possible. On Thursday night, a 60% chance of precipitation. Rain showers likely before 2 a.m., then a chance of rain and snow showers between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., then a chance of snow showers after 3 a.m. It will be mostly cloudy with a low around 30 degrees. Wind gusts as high as 24 miles per hour. Little or no snow accumulation is expected. On Friday, a 30% chance of snow showers before 7 a.m., mostly sunny with a high near 39 degrees. Wind gusts as high as 28 miles per hour. Friday night, mostly clear with a low around 23 degrees. Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 40 degrees. Saturday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 30 degrees. Sunday, mostly cloudy with a high near 45 degrees. And on Sunday night, a 40% chance of showers after 1 a.m., mostly cloudy with a low around 35 degrees. We have more news and our sports feature story coming up. We'll be right back.
Good evening, everyone. Here's today's Talk of the Town. A Taste of Hope to benefit the American Cancer Society will be held on November 20th from 11:30 a.m. until 4 p.m. at Lakeside Ballroom in Barnesville. For tickets or for more information, you can call 570-645-4228. SSPTV News would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. Mary Lynn Dromtra, age 85 of Hazelton, the Joseph B. Conahan Funeral Home, will announce their arrangements. Mary Jane Graff, age 76 of Drums, a memorial service will be held on November 27th at 11 a.m. at St. Paul's United Methodist Church. The Harmon Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. Rita Teresa Host Parter, age 95 of Wayne, services will be held at the convenience of the family under the Frank J. Bonin Funeral Home. And Barry Eugene Noss, age 62 of Berwick, a funeral service will be held on Saturday at 11 a.m. at the Harmon Funeral Home. Friends may call on Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. at the funeral home.
Tonight's obituaries are being brought to you in part by Harmon Funeral Homes and Crematory, with 2 locations in Rockland and in Drums, 570-384-3312 or 570-788-0977, and go to harmonfuneral.com.